Masego Rahlaga is at the school for us this morning. She joins us live. Masego, when we were tracking the story last week, there were some conflicting reports around whether classes had actually been cancelled for Friday and that they would also be cancelled for Monday, or whether some parents had chosen, in fact, to remove their children from classes on Friday following those protests outside the school. Just give us some clarity on where we stand.
Well, Michelle, it's pretty quiet outside the school today. It's nothing like the scenes from last week. What we do understand is that classes did resume today, so no classes were actually cancelled today, although what we're hearing is that there's very few pupils inside the school. But the other question that we've been asking ourselves, wondering, is that we've seen a lot of private security at the school premises, with the security guards, actually some of them looking like they are armed. Now, as you know, Michelle, according to rules of any school, there's nobody who's allowed on the premises, firstly armed, and secondly, we're also asking ourselves exactly who is paying for the private security, of course, because this is a public school. But to get back to your question, Michelle, it looks like there's very few pupils at the school to attend classes, but no classes were cancelled. There's private security, apparently, for the safety of the pupils. And, of course, there's also that question about them being armed.
Yeah, this is a question that our colleague Govan Whittles was also asking some of the parents who were outside the school last week. Parents who said that they needed to protect their children. If there's private security there today, that seems to be the prevailing sentiment at Schweizer-Reneke Primary. And the question is, protect the children from what?
Exactly, Michelle. And I mean, as the media, we did speak to the Department of Education in the Northwest. We spoke to the spokesperson who made a call, we presume, to the school and got back to us after a few minutes, saying that, they're not aware of any private security. They don't know who would be paying for the private security. But, he's the one who made us aware that, first of all, no parents, even parents, are not allowed to be roaming around the school during school hours. And he says that he thinks that these are parents who are looking after the well-being of their children. But just like you said, Michelle, who are they protecting the children from? And of course, that is a very important question that we will pose to the Education Department, as well as the SGB representative who is here. We do know that the South African Human Rights Commission actually arrived a few minutes ago. They told us they would be arriving here at 10 o'clock. They were here at exactly 10 o'clock. They're saying that they want to meet with the department because their investigation is actually one thing. It's not two separate investigations from the two. So they want to come out and, speak to us representing one investigation a bit later on. And we'll find out from them exactly what the situation is from inside. And as you can see, Michelle, we're locked out. We're not allowed inside. We're not even allowed to use the toilet. So we can't really tell what exactly is going on inside. But what we can see from outside is pupils playing at a field just far away from here. You won't be able to see it if I try to put the camera that way. But, we can see that there are very few pupils who are playing at the field.
Yeah, I don't think that's unusual for outsiders to not be allowed onto school premises during school hours. But Masego, the issue around the so-called private security that you have seen roaming around the school grounds, some of whom are armed, I don't suppose you've been able to get close enough to speak to them directly?
Well, we did try to get close, but like I said, Michelle, once they see you going a bit closer, they actually meet you by the gate and they ask you to leave. They will not answer any questions that we pose to them. They are directing us to the SGB representative, as well as the people from the Education Department in the Northwest. So we will be speaking to the DG. The MEC didn't come here today, Michelle, because, as you know, the legendary Bafana Bafana player Phil Masinga passed away. He's at Phil Masinga's house with his spokesperson to give condolences to the family. But there are representatives from the department who will speak to us, and the security themselves told us that they won't be able to tell us anything. The person who will be able to give us an update on why there's security and so forth will be the SGB representative, along with the education department in the province.
So, as you were saying to us a little earlier, Masego, the South African Human Rights Commission have arrived. That investigation will run sort of in parallel or together with the education department in the province there. Do we know what shape the investigation will take? We know on Friday that the MEC met with teachers, with some SGB members, some parents. As this investigation continues, what kinds of questions will be asked and to whom?
Well, Michelle, first of all, as you know, they were the black parents who were saying that, you know, the teacher actually shouldn't be the one that is suspended. And even if the teacher is suspended, she shouldn't be the only one. The principal, they were calling for the principal to also be suspended or to step down, because they were saying that, you know, the teacher is only a small representation of the school. So that's one thing that we are expected to find out during this investigation, questions to be posed to the principal, especially about the teachers all being white. Michelle, after finding out last week, the MEC said that there needs to be transformation at the school. So obviously there will be questions to the SGB as well as the principal about why, you know, all the teachers are white and there's not a single black teacher at the school. Of course, there will be parents who are asked, of course, you know, just like in court, when they ask you about, you know, how it affected you or your child, there will be parents, black and white, who will be asked about, you know, what they feel about the picture that was posted last week, this picture that caused the outrage, showing those pupils being separated. And of course, there'll be questions posed, especially to the teachers as well, the staff that work here, exactly what it is that happens at the school and if this is a norm, Michelle. And I think that the investigation will also extend to other schools around the Northwest. That's a question we will obviously ask about other schools in the Northwest and if there's been this problem. I mean, Michelle, you know, when you look at this, you know, we get fatigued a little bit. Well, personally, from myself, I do get fatigued with stories such as this one, because we've covered so many of these stories in the past few years of racism. I mean, last year, there was a first conviction in South Africa of Vicky Momberg, you know, after she used the K word, referring to the police officers who were trying to help her at that petrol station. You know, we've covered so many of these stories, and so, you know, that will obviously be finding out whether it will be extended to other schools in the province.
Well, thanks very much for that. Masego Rahlaga is outside Laerskool Schweizer-Reneke in the Northwest province, and of course there is another investigation also centering around racism that's being undertaken by the Education Department in the Eastern Cape, involving a school in Matatiele.